Welcome to the Circle of Subject, our Totally British special with Dylan Hamlin.
And Jessica Church. Today we'll be talking about such subjects as British culture and for things like Scottish independence.
To students' view on the importance of style and fashion.
Firstly, we're on the scenes of James Door of the local rugby and football clubs to conclude the feud between the two sports.
Football, rugby, gentleman sport played by thugs, a thug sport played by gentlemen. One sport thinks the other is just a bunch of meatheads running around with a ball with no talent at all. The other really doesn't like rugby. I'm James Door, and today I'm here to investigate what one sport thinks the other.
I don't really understand it, but I kind of get the gist of it. I think it's an alright sport, I guess.
It'd be one bad tackle, not necessarily a bad tackle, one heavy tackle, and you're out of the game. You can't compete for 90 minutes. You can't really compete for 90 minutes.
Rugby, I'm not the biggest fan of end zone games. For me, it's too big a scoring area. So once you've got past the defence in rugby, you know what's going to happen.
A bit like stop, start, stop, start. It's not constantly on the go.
Well, that's the pansies done. Let's see what rugby's got.
It's for pansies.
I think there's just too much money in it, sort of taking the fun out of it.
Too many people diving over just for little hits.
I like football. I like watching a sport Manchester United. I play now and again, but it's not my main sport.
Football's gone a bit downhill with all the theatrics and diving. It's taken some of the enjoyment out of the game, and what best role models you got going.
Well, there we have it. Two great sports and their opinions on each other. I've been James Dorff in Point Fraser College, and I'm off for a pint.
Very interesting indeed. Dylan, with your muscular frame, how do you think you would cope in a rugby match?
I reckon I'd rather destroy them or beg for mercy. Depends on how many times I've been to the gym that week.
You go to the gym?
Can't you tell by my muscular frame? They don't call me the hooker for nothing.
So you think you're really strong?
I reckon I could put up a good fight.
Talking about fights, Scotland has been putting up a good one lately in their quest for independence. Ross has travelled to Scotland to tell us how it's been going.
O flower of Scotland, when will we see your lights again? This was the question Roy Williamson asked when he wrote the patriotic song in 1967. But many are beginning to ask the question again. With Scotland deciding their fate in the independence vote next year on the anniversary of Bannockburn, but what's the opinion south of the border?
I think that Scotland is an important part of the United Kingdom. I think that they do have a good positive influence on the UK as a whole, and I do think that the unity of the UK is quite an important part of our country in general. And I say, I personally would like to see it remain the United Kingdom rather than split countries.
With devolution in progress across the home nations, how do we in England feel about the other three nations granting what's been talked about as unfair advantages to their own citizens, such as reduced or no tuition fees and free prescriptions? Do we as English feel it is the right time to split, or is there an underlooming urge to keep the union together? Let's see what the general opinion is.
It offers masses, doesn't it, really? I mean, you've got the elements such as, I'll say, the scenic value of Scotland in itself. Obviously there's also a element of the movie industry, TV industry, that sort of stuff that use Scotland. If you think of the big movies that have been filmed there in the past and stuff, and that's gone towards like the British Film Board rather than, you know, Scotland in itself. So it has been a big asset to our country. You've got, like I say, the sort of cultural aspect that bring, you know, even the Queen's Guards, you know, their tartan dress, they play bagpipes, and that's a tourist draw to London in itself. So if we lose Scotland as a part of the UK, does that mean we lose that element of, you know, that sort of part of our society?
What does Scotland give us? Sure, there's the Highland cow and haggis, and even Nessie has her mystical merits, but the benefits of Scotland go a lot deeper than the fabled loch.
Sort of elements in there, you know, the castles, alcohol, the shortbread, bagpipes, and just the things that generally bring people to this country. And I say we are a country that depends upon tourism, so I think that will it mean that people no longer come to England, they no longer come to Britain as a holiday, they go straight to Scotland and see that as a separate destination, or will they see the UK as a whole and come to us all the way through, really?
Current polls are suggesting a no vote against independence. However, with a year still left to go, will debates such as Europe and nuclear weapons have an effect? With opinions still mixed in debates, will we see celebrations of a new nation emerging, or of a union retightening its bonds? This time around, English swords won't be used. It's all down to the Scots to decide.
Dylan, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm getting to the Scottish spirit.
I don't think you're really pulling off as well as you think you are.
I'm a fashion icon.
Of course you are. I'm sure the students at this college would really appreciate that fashion sense there.
I'm sure they would.
But luckily, you don't have to face them, as Gemma Haxel has been out of the studio and asked the question of, is fashion and style important?
Fashion, a term which is referred to as a state of mind, is it in fact only about what we see in the distinctive styles and trends that is dictated to us? It floods and bombards our daily lives through things such as posed mannequins in the high street shops to top designers hitting our magazine headlines. Today I want to discover how much impact style has to students who are growing up in this generation and how important creating a sense of style is to them. So I'm going into Exeter College to find out. How would you define the term fashion?
I think fashion is a term that describes a movement, and I think people follow and base their looks and styles around those movements.
I guess it depends on what you think it is, to be honest. I mean, it's whatever you make it, because everyone thinks fashion's different.
Why do you think people feel the need to keep up to date with the latest trends?
I think it's a social thing, and I think it's a need for fulfillment. I think modern fashion exclusively is now one person being a trendsetter and people following in groups.
I don't really keep up with many trends, I don't think. I don't really look into it to see what they are. I kind of just see something and I go, yep, that's alright, I'll buy that.
So they don't get judged. Think about, like, everyone kind of wears like similar things, but it depends how you put them together. Whereas, like, if you could dress out a bit differently, people usually judge you for it.
Do you spend much time thinking about your dress sense?
Only for certain occasions, from going places like sporting events, I will do, and going to see people I care about, I will do.
No, not really. I guess I put on whatever I feel like on the day.
No, not really. I'll usually just go to the wardrobe and just open it and be like, yep, that looks right. Pick that out.
What does your dress sense say about you?
I don't really think about it, to be honest. It's usually, I go on my mood and what I have that's clean.
It tells me what I'm doing for the day and what kind of mood I'm in.
I'm not really sure. I don't know, quite plain, I suppose. There's not really a lot of colour in my outfit at the moment.
How long does it take you to get dressed in the mornings?
10 to 15 minutes max.
About 30 seconds. It doesn't really, I don't put a lot of thought into what I wear.
It can take from like 20 minutes to 2 hours.
As you can see, we've had a mixed response and reviews of the students of Exeter College and a background look into fashion. Back to you in the studio.
Well, that was a varied response from the students of Exeter College, but unfortunately it's time to round up this week's show.
Join us next week on Circle of Subject, where we'll have more topics that will make your head spin. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you.